Nutritionist behind Glow Nutritional Consulting. And I am here tonight to help you break chocolate. If you have cravings, then this chat is going to be for you. If you commented that you have cravings, or if you emailed me back today that you have cravings, then this one is for you. I am including all of the ones that I got before I jumped on, and over and over and over again, I heard, oh my gosh, I crave chocolate. If I could give up chocolate, that would help me so much. So we also are going to cover chips. We are also going to cover stuffed crust pizza. And I think those are the main three. So let's jump in. So why do cravings happen? There are a few reasons in my view, and there are a few reasons that breaking them can actually be quite easy. So the first general idea around cravings is that when you are craving something, your body is looking for certain nutrients. So, for example, in chocolate, there are high levels of magnesium, there are high levels of iron. So if you are particularly low in those minerals, then you may crave lots and lots of chocolate to help to bring your body back into balance, to help restore the balance of those minerals. The body is so super smart, but it will crave the easiest possible food for you to eat that it knows that you will go to refill those things. Now, it's important to know in that case too, and we'll get into chocolate more formally in a second, but it's important to recognize that both magnesium and iron really contribute to your energy levels. So if you are feeling lethargic and you're craving chocolate, it could also be from an energetic point of view. You want a boost of energy. You want something to help you feel better. So it's not just always the exclusive nutrients. Sometimes we look at what else is in that food. And obviously, on the side of chocolate, again, if you are eating a whole food chocolate bar, by that I mean a raw chocolate, Giddy Yo-Yo would be a brand that's a great example. There are so many other raw chocolate bars that use raw cocoa fat. If you're eating one of those, then you're going to be getting a lot more of the nutrients in, obviously, than if you're eating something that has a little bit of cocoa that's very processed, that also has modified milk ingredients, kind of gumming up the percentages, so now you're getting less of what was medicinally helpful, and preservatives and all kinds of stuff so that they can keep that on the shelf for a very long time. So that's a very different kind of setup, and that is something very helpful to understand. So deficiencies can cause you to crave certain things, to kind of look for minerals or look for nutrients. The second thing is that imbalances can cause you to look for nutrients. So if you are craving chocolate, again, like we said, sometimes that's a craving for sugar. You're exhausted, you are burnt out, maybe you're getting head rushes. Those would all be symptoms associated with either adrenal fatigue, which are your stress glands, your stress hormones, or your thyroid health. And so if those things are out of whack, you may be craving the chocolate from the point of view of looking to get sugar in, which is just a very patch fix to try and help you feel more energized right now. So what I want to point to is whenever I'm helping you throughout this video, we're always looking together at root causes, and that's a big difference between looking and healing the root cause than it is between kind of putting a patch on it. It's almost like if your engine light comes on in your car, you could take it in and get it fixed up and have everything working optimally again, or you could punch out the light and try not to recognize that it's on, and then things degrade further. That's kind of like the patch fix, which is what the cravings are oftentimes. And then there's the real fix, which is understanding why the cravings are occurring and actually helping your body to rebalance with the nutrients that you need so that you'll stop craving those things. So that is really important. So we are going to talk about chocolate we are going to talk about chips, and we are going to talk about stuffed crust pizza. If I forgot you, or if that is not your craving, please let me know in the comments while we're on live at any point, and I would love to help you out with yours. So we talked a little bit about chocolate, so let's go into that one first, because far and away that was the number one kind of, I picture you guys yelling at me in a nice way of like, chocolate, help! Yes, so that was by far and away the most requested thing. So let's jump in. So if you have chocolate cravings, the first thing that I want you to do, like tomorrow morning or tonight if you can order it on Amazon or something, is find raw cacao powder, which is raw chocolate powder, and grab it for yourself. Now there are a couple of good brands, there are a couple of brands that I trust. Natali's is awesome. Who else does raw cacao powder? Organic Traditions is fantastic. I love them. Those would be two good brands, but you want to make sure that it's raw, that it has not been heated above 118 degrees. And if it's certified raw or anything like that, that's fantastic. I also like to ensure that things are fairly treated and organically grown. So those would be a couple of things to watch out for, just because the chocolate world can be a little harmful. So once you have your raw cacao powder, so what this is and why it's so exciting is that it is a raw chocolate powder. So chocolate is super bitter on its own without any of the sugar added to it, so it's not like you could just gobble it up like you would a bar, but it can have amazingly useful purposes. So what's really, really cool about raw cacao powder is that it's one of the most antioxidant rich foods on the entire planet. So what does that mean? Anytime you're taking in exhaust fumes or secondhand smoke or firsthand smoke, or anytime you are kind of eating anything that can cause damage to your body, whether there's synthetic sprays or hormones added or antibiotics or anything like that, anything that is changing your body and could cause damage in a negative way, that can be called free radical damage. So now we're getting a little far, but what is awesome about raw cacao powder is that because of the massive antioxidant load, you can repair that damage and actually prevent it from happening. Just because we got far, it means that there's an extra little piece in these to make an antioxidant that can fly off and prevent the damage from any of the harsher environmental things that we're all exposed to on a daily basis, and especially so if you're living in a big city. So make sure that you go, make sure that you go and get that. That's step one. Step two would be to understand the difference between raw cacao and cocoa powder and chocolate that you might find at a regular grocery store. So raw cacao has not been heated. That means that the antioxidants have not been used up trying to protect the plant from the heat element. Cocoa powder that you'd normally find for baking or that kind of stuff, cocoa powder has been heated and roasted to make it that really strong chocolatey taste that you'll associate with chocolate. But because of that roasting process, you've used up some or a lot of the antioxidants in that, which then it's not as powerful a food as the original one was. So that would be cocoa powder. And then when you go for kind of chocolate at the kind of main checkout part of your grocery store, then what you would find is even the cocoa powder, which can still be somewhat beneficial. The raw is the best, but then the cocoa powder there's still great studies on eating dark chocolate, even if it's not raw, that's all good. But then when you go to like a cash out kind of a place where they have all those bars, now you have taken the cocoa powder, which was okay, but now you might have 10% of that in the end of chocolate bar, or 20% or 30%, whereas if you were getting a high quality bar, you'd have much more of that. So just in terms of that, then you've also cut it with any kind of preservatives, with any kind of colorings, with any other ingredients that may not be great that are in the bar, with a lot of sugar, not from great sources, and you may not have any fats to cut down the sugar, so it kind of becomes a little bit of a mess. So when you get raw cacao, you have this super antioxidant rich food that is incredibly beneficial to your health. So there are two awesome ways that I love using this in my life. Number one is to make this is always called my headache reliever smoothie. So if you're somebody that gets headaches, one of the things that can help with that is increasing the magnesium in your diet, because magnesium has a relaxing effect on all of the arteries and little capillaries that move in and through your head. So anytime you're trying to take pressure out of your head, it makes sense to kind of open those up and allow greater flow through them. So the smoothie that I will make and that I often recommend is a tablespoon of hemp seeds, a cup or so of water, a tablespoon of raw cacao powder, and then usually a tablespoon of maple syrup. Now the hemp seeds provide lots of fiber and lots of protein, which helps cut down the absorption of the sugar very quickly. And then the raw cacao powder is also awesome for you and is pretty chock full of fiber and protein as well. So that can really, really help if you're suffering from headaches or migraines or anything like that. That can be something that's incredibly helpful for you. And otherwise, it just ends up tasting like a chocolate milk. Now, the other thing you can do is if you have a high-speed blender, you could throw in 2 pitted dates and just blend it up really well until it's creamy. That can be in place of the maple syrup. Or the last thing that I do for clients on candida cleanses when they can't be exposed to sugar during a specific targeted time is making the same smoothie without the dates, without the maple syrup, and just with kind of 4 to 7 drops. And I always say start small and then add another drop, reblend and sip, and then you'll find your kind of ideal. That can be something that is very helpful if you're looking to avoid the sugar in that smoothie. So that is a great way to use raw cacao. Hi, Kate! It's so nice. I don't know how you feel about it popping up. I always feel nervous when somebody else, when I pop up on somebody else's live, I'm like, ah! But I am so happy that you're here. We are talking about chocolate. So making sure that you include raw cacao. Oh, and if you have any questions on cravings or things that you really crave, just let me know. I'd be happy to help out with those specifically. Okay, the second recipe you can use to help refill the craving with actual whole foods so that you are getting in the nutrients that you need so that you're not craving it at the cash out, for example. So with chocolate, the whole food itself, the raw cacao powder, is awesome. There's no complaints, there's no restrictions, it's a super awesome food, it's so great for you. I don't find any kind of like imbalance with eating it. So that is a kind of part one of this kind of healing craving situation. So the second recipe that I have is making a soft serve. So that is where you freeze bananas overnight in the freezer and then get your food processor lined up, or you can use a blender as well. You throw your frozen bananas in and then you throw about a cup or so. I'm going to be rough on measurements here, but I usually do like 3 half bananas. So 1.5 bananas, and then about 3/4 of a cup of frozen strawberries, and then a tablespoon of raw cacao powder, a tablespoon of roasted cocoa powder for flavor, and sometimes a little almond milk creamer or a little bit of almond milk, like a tablespoon, just so that it kind of processes up smooth. So you can also just wait like 3 or 4 minutes, and then the fruits will thaw enough that it will process up smooth on its own. But if you're in a rush, then this is the fast version. So then you just process that up and it becomes exactly like a soft serve. And because the chocolate's in there too, it is so much more like a soft serve than some of the banana on its own, which I have definitely seen, but whenever I try, I'm like, yeah, but it kind of tastes like a banana. This one, because you have the different flavors of the banana and then the strawberries and then also the chocolate, they kind of work together and make this really, really beautiful soft serve. So if you're craving chocolate, that is a great place to go. And if you just always keep some frozen bananas in your freezer that are already peeled, then that makes this an incredibly fast thing to make. Like, you can have it made in under 5 minutes easy if you have those ingredients available. So that would be that. You can also do it just with raw cacao powder. I like to do a mix of the two because I find that cocoa powder also adds like that kind of rich, darker flavor, whereas raw cacao powder can be very kind of a much lighter chocolate flavor. So that can help with that. I did also mention awesome bars. On the flip side of the craving, if you are constantly craving chocolate, then sometimes that can look like a few different things to me. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, sometimes that can point to a magnesium deficiency. So if you have that, you probably notice muscle cramps, muscle tension. You may have restless legs at nighttime. You may have headaches. Those would be kind of my frequent kind of, if you gave me those symptoms, I'd probably assume magnesium was involved. So then in that, you can either look at supplementing magnesium, or alternatively, you can look at including different things like kale, which is very high in magnesium, any of the greens, collards, Swiss chard, broccoli, any of those will be a really, really big help. Of course, now I want to say, if you are craving chocolate in the moment, then of course nobody's gonna be okay with a bowl of kale or something to substitute. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is understanding why the craving is hitting and doing something about that in your regular day-to-day life, so that then you are able to not have the craving at the end. So it's kind of like healing it preventatively. So starting to include those foods more frequently now, so that the craving really cuts down in the future. And usually, if that's the case, if you really load up on those foods, you can have the craving gone in like under a week. So as long as you're getting a good amount of those things in. So that is number one reason for chocolate cravings. Number two can be a low iron. So if this was your specific problem, I'd expect you to feel pretty exhausted. I'd expect you to feel like if you try and climb a flight of stairs or something, you'll be really out of breath. You may call yourself super out of shape. You may call yourself super unmotivated to get out and work out. Not the case at all, very likely an iron deficiency. So this one's always important to have blood tests done beforehand. You never want to be on the toxicity side of iron. But if that is the problem, if that's a suspected problem, then there are supplements out there that are only ever recommended, again, if you've done a blood test and you know for sure that you are low. Otherwise, including foods that are really high in iron can help you out. So things like molasses are really high. Things like chickpeas, which you can really easily eat in hummus, are very high. Lentils, any of the black lentils. We'll do a pasta sauce very regularly. Actually, you know what? I'll write that down and I will share that pasta sauce recipe right after I'm done live here, because it is awesome and it has black lentils and it's super high in iron. So if that's why you're craving the chocolate, then refilling that deficiency will make a huge difference for you. And then the last kind of place, as I again mentioned a little bit before, if you're craving it just for the energy, then I wouldn't expect it to be just a chocolate craving. I would expect it to be any kinds of sweets and maybe lots of coffee and maybe alcohol, just to kind of keep you going through the day. So if that's more the area that you're craving, then there could be a couple of imbalances, which I won't get into in huge detail just because I know we still have other places to go on this chat. But things like thyroid health could be implicated, adrenal health could be implicated, and candida, so a yeast overgrowth in your body, can be really big for those. So if you are looking for help on those, then let me know with a message and we can have a chat about those. The next place that we'll go will be stuffed crust pizza. So I had one very specific insight as soon as you shared the stuffed crust pizza was your kind of craving, oftentimes what I will see in clients is, because one of the services that I offer is somebody will go in and track their food, and then I will go in to the same program and look at what they've been eating. So when I am watching what they're eating, oftentimes I'll see that they are trying to hit a low caloric intake as recommended by any of the tracking apps out there. And then they're trying to hit it, or they're trying to be just underneath it, trying to be that kind of perfect, trying to kind of just come in underneath. And they'll do it 3 or 4 days and maybe have a workout in there, finally get themselves motivated to go out and do a workout or something like that. And then bam, you can always see it coming. If you watch yourself do that on any kind of a tracking app, you can expect that you will cave. And it is not that you are weak. It is not that you don't have self-control. It is not that you need to restrict yourself further. It is none of those things. It is that you need more calories at a base level, that you are denying yourself regularly until your body is like, enough. Let's go for the highest calorie food that we possibly could and stuff it all in our face and call it a treat, and then try and restrict again next week. So if you have noticed this pattern, then you are exactly who I am talking to right now. This message was meant for you, so listen up. So what can you do about that? I would generally add 100 to 200 calories onto what you're eating, because chances are it's not sustaining you. I usually don't just talk about calories, so usually there's other things that play in there, but that at a very base point can be helpful. If you are looking to lose weight at the same time, which I understand, then what you must start to change in your mind is that it's not the calories that you're consuming, it's where the food is coming from. So, just as an example here, if you are consuming food with pesticides that was not grown in very healthy soil, with residues of herbicides on it, with maybe hormones injected to it, with maybe antibiotics injected into it, if you are consuming food like that on a daily basis, regularly, throughout the day, consistently, which means that if the majority of your food is not organically grown, this falls for you, even if you're mostly homemaking some of your own meals, or at least parts of them, or anything like that. If you're constantly eating those things, then you're putting a huge amount of effort on your liver to be able to detoxify those things, to be able to get them out of your body. If you cannot do that, if your liver says, enough, I'm overloaded here, I cannot take on the extra work now, and you're not changing what you're eating, then your body, to protect you, stores those in your fat cells. It just throws the rest of the toxic material into your fat cells so that they hold on to it, so that it's a little harder to release, and it's a life-saving mechanism. So don't hate your body for this at all. This is protecting you from toxic overload that can hurt all of your organs and tissues and everything. So it's a bad situation. It's a good situation that your body does it. So if you are if you're craving tons of different foods that are not super helpful for you, then you're causing this reaction to happen over and over. So when you're looking at weight loss, what you need to focus more on is where your calories are coming from, instead of just how many there are in your day. Because if you are eating pesticide-laden, herbicide-laden, all those kinds of foods regularly, then you're not giving your body a chance to get rid of them. Whereas if you are eating very clean, very healthy, a lot of home-cooked, a lot of organic, all thrown in there, then that's going to make a huge difference to how your body's able to process that stuff out and how much thinner you're going to feel and weigh. So that covers off the stuffed crust pizza. So just to kind of recap that one, my suspicion is you're under eating most days, and the stuffed crust pizza is a craving that is coming out of that calorie denial. So that not getting enough food in. Because when you are looking at like an oily pizza and fat has double the calories of protein or carbs, so when you're looking at like a really oily crust and cheese, which is a lot of fat stuffed into the crust, and then whatever toppings on top of that, you're looking at such a high calorie meal. So the way to prevent that in the future is just to make sure that you're eating a little bit more high quality foods through your day. That can be done through snacking, things like hummus and veggies, hummus and crackers. I just did a video 2 weeks ago maybe on 12 different, I think it was 12 veggie rich snacks that don't suck. So if you just click on Glow Nutritional Consulting and you scroll down the page, you'll be able to find that video. It's still up for you. And you can go through and start adding in any of those snacks to your day. That will help to get you kind of eating in the right way and inspired for healthy eating so that you can make great changes. Okay, so then the last one, and I'm really hoping this is the last, it was chips, and I'm remembering that there was one more, but I don't exactly remember what it was. So I think we're gonna end on chips here unless I look it up on my computer right here for a second. So chips is the last one. The biggest thing that comes to mind for chips is the salt. So especially if you find yourself able to go through like a huge bag, what's important to know is that your stress glands are in part fueled by sodium and other trace minerals that are usually in nature tied to salty things. So if you are craving chips and if you're able to go through a whole bag of chips, then usually what I see in that is that your body's searching for natural minerals that it's not getting elsewhere, and that you're likely under a fair amount of stress at the moment. So there are a couple of different techniques based on those that get to kind of the root cause. So the first, I would say, if you're under a fair bit of stress right now, the fastest thing that I know to tell you to do that makes a huge difference, I know you may not want to do it, I know there are times that I don't want to do it, I totally hear you, but taking 2 minutes or 5 minutes to meditate in any way that works for you is really helpful. Whether that means looking at something and just saying the name of that thing just so that your brain can kind of stop for a minute. So I have a little tree just behind where the camera is, so you could just look at it and just say tree, tree, tree in your mind over and over and over again for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something. Another meditation that you can do, this one I really like before bed, is just focusing on the top of your head, the scalp of your head, and just focusing on relaxing those muscles. And then thinking about your jaw, releasing any tension there, thinking about all the little muscles working in your eyes every day, releasing tension there. Then letting that kind of move down into your neck and into your shoulders, relaxing, just focusing on relaxing all of those muscles. And then your elbows and your wrists, making sure that you're relaxing any tension in your fingers from all the typing or texting that you may be doing. Relaxing through your abdominals and your bum and your legs, making its way down into your feet and your toes. Just taking it, and it can be that fast. So it doesn't have to be some huge long meditation, it doesn't have to be formally guided, it doesn't have to be anything, even sometimes washing dishes, any repetitive motion can put you into a meditative state. We all go into those states at different points in the day, and if we didn't, we'd have a lot more chaos and anxiety. So just actively putting yourself in one can be very, very helpful for the stress piece. So if that's part of your problem, I hope one of those exercises resonates for you. And then on the flip side, things that you could do to cut this craving out into the future is that you could include like Himalayan salt into your diet or Celtic salt into your diet. So both of those salts are really high in minerals, and then even better than those, to also include alongside them, because you can't really use it as a substitute, would be any natural seaweeds that you can find. So there's a company called Maine Coast Naturals that does these bags of seaweed in kind of the health food section of most grocery stores now, at least here in Toronto, or otherwise there's like seaweed shakers that you can buy online. Anything, whether you see dulse or kelp or nori or whatever, increasing the amount of seaweed in your diet can be huge. Now, just as a fun fact, because I like giving out fun facts every once in a while, especially when they prove a point really strongly, sea vegetables have, on average, 20 times the minerals as land-grown vegetables. So when we're talking about the fastest way to get in a mass dose of minerals, eating sea vegetables is a very, very easy way and effective way to reach that target. So if you're craving chips, then preventatively from now moving forward, and not beating up on yourself if you have chips tonight before you can kind of put these pieces into place, but really focusing on getting these pieces into place would be meditating, eating more Celtic salt, in your diet, using that only in your cooking instead of any table salt or any white sea salt. And then using Himalayan salt is also good, so whichever one you can find out of those two is great. And then also adding seaweeds into your diet as long as you do not have hyperthyroidism. So you want to make sure so that you can be extra safe on that front. Now, I'm just going to, I am going to go on my computer if it's on. Awesome. Yes, I did leave it on. So I am just going to take a look because I know there was one more comment and I just want to make sure that I get to you. I'm a sugar girl, mostly chocolate after meals. Okay, awesome. So we did cover chocolate. Okay, that's why I had you in my mind. And I just wanted to make sure that I covered that. So we covered chocolate huge at the beginning. Sugar we even covered as a possible couple of imbalances. So that is all covered for you. I hope that you guys loved this. Give this the thumbs up right now if you did. Throw a thumbs up emoji into the comments. I would absolutely love to see that this helped you. And otherwise, if you are looking for some help, if you are looking for weight loss that feels easy with my help, then get in touch because I have a new program that starts with weight loss feeling easy with my help or your money back. So if you are looking for help, if now is your time, if you are ready to lose weight, then definitely let me know with a message. This program is coming soon, and if you message this page, then I'll make sure that you're one of the first to see it because there will be limited seats in this one because it is immense support that is incredibly helpful for you, and there is only one of me, so to navigate everybody, there has to be limited spots so that I can give the best possible service, which is what I am all about here. So if that is resonating with you, if that is sounding like, yes, that's what I've been looking for, then send me a message so that I can help you out and so that you get first access to that option. I think that's all for tonight, guys. So thank you for being here with me. It looked like a little bit of a quiet night on here, but I appreciate it. If you need any more help, get in touch. And otherwise, we covered off cravings, where they come from, how to heal them from the root cause instead of patching them up or allowing those patches of cravings to continue. We talked about chocolate. We talked about stuffed crust pizza, and then we talked about chips as well. And I will link the pasta sauce recipe in here so that if your craving for chocolate is based on low iron, you have that recommendation, which is a beautiful pasta sauce anyways to make. So I hope that is all for you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, tag me in the comments. You are fantastic and you deserve to feel awesome.